Some point, and you do have to remain in your seat unless you go to the bar, or if you need to go to the restroom, I'll allow it. You don't have to raise your hand, just go. So your restrooms are downstairs directly below the bar. The bar, I don't need to tell you where that is. Everybody's got a drink in their hand already, so you figure that part out. Good for you. Didn't need a map or anything. I think that's everything. Introductions all around. Who's driving the Grand Dame of the river tonight? That would be Captain Heather upstairs here. She's right up there. The lady boss going to get us there and back tonight. And on this deck, let's see, who did I see on here? We have Ivy, I think, and also myself. My name is Seaton. I'm going to be your commentator. What do? I make up stories and make them sound convincing, that sort of thing. It's basically lies and stretches of the truth, that sort of thing. But hey, if it sounds good, it works. Makes you laugh, good deal. I figure we're missing. Oh yeah, we got Jake on board too as well. He's wearing the nice uniform. Jake, Ivy, and myself, we help check people in tonight. So you've already met us. And you remember all those crew members' names? You don't need to because they're not important. Look behind you on this deck right here. You'll see the two most important people on this boat. Your bartenders. Back there in the port quarter, he is the thoroughbred stallion of the Jungle Queen bartending staff. We're talking about Parker. And on the starboard side, the lovely lady in red, that's Riley. You may refer to her as the Queen of the Colada. So she'll take care of you, and so will Parker throughout the trip. Hope you guys have a great time on here. I'm going to get to point out some sights. So there's the house over to your right. It's got black and white awnings on the outside, and it's owned by Michael Maroney, who sold all his car dealerships a few years ago to Wayne Heisinger. If you're a local, and I know we got a few on here, you might remember his commercials. What do they sound like? If you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Maroney, exactly. Now those commercials annoyed me too, but you know what? I remember them. Therefore, it was very effective advertising. Coming up to your left-hand side, there are two white houses. One of these two homes was used in several episodes of Miami Vice, and it usually was usually where the bad guys would live back in the day. You're going, it's the one with the speedboat, the jet ski. I'm like, yeah, it's that one. So that house was used in several episodes of Miami Vice. It's a one-bedroom bachelor pad house, and I know the guy who lives in that house is single and has no wife, no girlfriend. You're like, how do you know? Because there's a motorcycle parked in the living room. You can see it from here. That nothing screams out, I need a girlfriend more than a motorcycle up in the front window like that. Once again, call your attention. Directly ahead of us, we're going to see that beautiful sunset. Looking very Miami Vice out here tonight, isn't it? Actually, yeah, you know, opening Miami Vice, I said that the city furniture kind of thing going. So look at the skyline in front of us. You're going to see that collection of buildings there in downtown Fort Lauderdale. We'll be driving between those buildings in about 15 minutes, so that'll give you a nice close view. First things, not too much about me. I moved here about 30 years ago from Virginia, and been down here ever since. The year I moved here, 1993, there were this many buildings. If you can't see my fingers, two buildings on the skyline. And that means, first of all, it's a very young skyline. Everything built up there within the last 15, 20 years. Second of which, this is really weird, 90% of those buildings are residential. And it kind of makes sense. We're not really a town that's known as a banking center or center of industry. We do have a couple bank buildings, but most of all, it's all condos, including the one they're building right now, that big tall one in the middle. That's going to be a big old expensive condo building right there. Now tonight on the boat ride, you are going to see some impressive multi-million-dollar yachts. You're going to see some absolutely breathtakingly beautiful mansions. And of course, everything seems out of reach and unaffordable. So when they built the city of Fort Lauderdale, where did the working class people live? And the answer is right over here to your right. So this whole neighborhood was built for the roofers, the street layers, the drywall hangers, all the people that built the city. And then there was a gray house to your right that was built in 1946 with blue awnings. And that house kind of like started a trend of rich people moving down here. I'm going to tell you who built the gray house to your right, and then you're going to say, oh, so this was built for members of the Vanderbilt family. Yeah, exactly. And as soon as they moved down here, basically it changed the kind of picture for the city. We were kind of an unknown, sleepy little beach town. And I'll tell you something else, you could have hated the Vanderbilts in 1947, can't stand them. But you know what? You bought that house right next to it. Why? Because you're going to make money. You don't have to use it, just buy it and then you flip it a couple of years later and it's going to make a fortune just because of proximity to the Vanderbilts. Last Vanderbilt to live there, her nickname was the poor little rich girl. Just yell it out if you know it. Glory, 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 very good. And her son's on CNN nowadays, say it with me, Anderson Cooper. He used to run around that backyard in diapers back in the old days. Now what in the world's going on over here to your left? These people have been sitting out here. This is Saturday morning. They came here about 6 o'clock. They've been drinking since 6 o'clock in the morning. This is a sandbar party, is what it is. And you can tell the girl on top of that boat right there, yeah, she's ready. Better take her home, get some water in her. She's moving weirdly. Anyway, we have all kinds of names for this. This is Beer Can Island, the Redneck Riviera. Saturdays and Sundays, I call it the Island of Debauchery. Why? Because they're out here at 6 in the morning, they're drinking, and those people need Jesus. Just saying, that's a lot of weird stuff going on. Now you will see a few people standing around in the water. Why are they standing in the water? Some people think it's because the water's refreshing. It's not. The water's 84 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like bath water that's been left out a couple hours. So there's a better reason for that, is because none of those boats have bathrooms. So that's why they are drinking a lot. Just one and one together there. Them two dudes need to find deeper water. We can still see them, so they need to go somewhere else. Coming up on the left-hand shoreline, you all see this beautiful house now. It has stripes on the first floor. The second floor is painted, and there's actually a good reason for this. I can tell you it took 5.5 years to build the house. It's not really true. It took a year to build the frame of the house, and it took a stonemason 5.5 years. He'd get a crate of sandstone or limestone, and he cut those pieces and put them on the outside of the house. It took him 5 years. You put a kid through college doing that. And he's getting ready to start on the second floor, and the owner's like, hey, can we just paint it instead? So they did. That's why the house looks like it was supposed to be stripy all the way up, but they stopped it. So anyway, who lives there? That guy is a drug dealer. Kind of guessed there was. So yeah, some lady riding the boat actually looked at me when I said that one day, and she says, I knew it. I looked at her and I said, what did you know? She says, I knew there had to be one. I said, man, there's more than one. I don't point them all out to you, but I do point out that guy. So the reason I talk about this one drug dealer, his name is Bruce Paddock, and his company was called Paddock Pharmaceuticals. It was located in Minnesota, and he did generic brand prescription alternatives that saved people a lot of money while helping to promote a healthy lifestyle. So that's actually good what he did. Sold the company about $630 million.